The AI royalty that we've developed is 1,900 times greater than the Spotify royalty. 1,900% more than the Spotify royalty. So when you're talking about an app store, the marketplace, the monetization piece of it, the same thing holds true for Monarch. Like, we're creating an AI royalty that previously has never been available. All right. Good morning, happy people. Welcome to the podcast. Really excited about today's episode. So with us today in our rotating cast of characters, we have Ken Gay, who's had an amazing first chapter of his career doing Super Bowl halftime shows and tours for U2 and Dolly. Ken, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I am good. I am looking forward to today. Today's episode is pretty exciting episode. When I got the topics and got who was going to be on, I was like, okay, this is going to be a good one. All right, yeah, looking
Yeah, it's
forward
going
to
to
it.
be fun for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir.
And with Ken and I is our visionary founder, Finbar O'Hanlon, streaming in from Australian. How you doing, Finn?
Hey guys, great to be here.
How's everything in your world, Finn?
Yeah, just it's busy, but we're at a really exciting time in history. So I'm excited that we're at the forefront of it.
So our guest today is somebody I'm really excited to introduce you to and for our listeners to hear from. His name is Matthew Blakemore, and he is a AI expert, influencer out of the UK and EU. He has consistently over the last handful of years kind of put a very specific pinpoint on the AI problem slash opportunity. So Matthew, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here and to discuss such an important topic as well.
Super pumped about this episode. So Matthew, most of our listeners most likely would not have met you. Can you give us a little bit of your backstory? How'd you get here?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so I actually got started working with artificial intelligence back in 2014, believe it or not. So it's been a while. And I remember actually back then, people were very skeptical about the potential of AI. And obviously, if we look at today and the hype around certain versions of AI, whether it be generative or now the computer vision models as well, it's completely shifted. And I think as it's shifted, and AI has become more capable of more advanced things, my position in the industry has shifted as well. So I initially was product managing AI projects, ideating, basic machine learning tools. And now I've moved on to really supporting businesses strategically with AI, but also influencing policy decisions and conversations around, among other things, the copyright debate and remunerating creatives fairly.
Hmm. Well, that dovetails pretty perfectly into what Finbar and Ken and I have been working on at Monarch. Matthew, what are you seeing out of the UK and the EU? What's kind of the current state of affairs there?
Sure. Well, I mean, if we look first of all at the EU level, I mean, we've obviously got the EU AI Act that's actually coming in. It's there was some pushback from the Swedish government and others as well about certain parts of the EU AI Act, but the EU has been very clear that it's not going to be delayed. And so companies will need to adhere to it. And what we've also seen more recently is the EU's Code of Conduct for General Purpose AI Systems come into force. It's a voluntary code of conduct, but the vast majority of big AI companies have signed up to it. And the good thing about both the EU AI Act and the code of conduct is the fact that they really present IP as an important topic and transparency for companies as well. In the UK, it's a bit different. So we've had obviously an AI consultation at the moment. So we've had creatives feeding into that. We've had AI companies feeding into that about how copyright should work with AI training. And the debate is still ongoing. There has been some heated debate around, how it should work. With AI companies fairly pointing out that, if the wrong solution is implemented or forced upon them, then it could curtail certain innovation. And creatives pointing out that they should be fairly remunerated from these models, and they shouldn't lose out. And so I think there's this ongoing debate, and at times it's been very heated. There's been misunderstandings, I would say, on both sides, and neither side really talk to each other. So I don't think it was helped by the fact that initially the government kind of in the consultation said they had a preferred approach, and that preferred approach was an opt-out, and many creatives didn't like that approach and didn't understand why the government was taking that approach. And I think actually if the government had approached it more from a neutral perspective and then crafted an approach off the back of that, there would have been less of a pushback and more of a pretty healthy conversation. But I think that's where, your solution and others come in. I mean, one of the interesting things is, last year at Cannes Film Festival, I was talking about the importance of actually attributing or remunerating based on the outputs of these tools. And I think that's something that we're going to talk about today and explore with your solution as well.
So Finn, let me pull you in here. When we talk about inputs and outputs, can you talk a little bit about how the Monarch system handles that?
What we're working towards is a system that is basically the connective tissue between a prompt and the reference to the influence of the artist that has been basically a core fundamental part of the output that's created from the prompt. That sounds really technical, but it's built of a couple of components. So to understand the input and output, you sort of need to know a little bit how the engine works. So the first part of the engine is about being able to detect and basically extract a number of different types of style elements from an artist's library of works. So what our engine does is it goes into an entire library of a body of work, and its job is to basically pull a fingerprint, which is a representation of the style of an artist. So in a high level, without me getting technical, first off, here's a body of my work. We will now create a style fingerprint, or we'll tokenize the style of that artist. Now that the style is tokenized, on the other end, on the prompter's end, who wants to create output, they need to type in a name of an artist or a name of a track or name of something that the artist has created as a piece of output in the past that is influencing the prompt. When they intersect that word, then there's a royalty mechanism that happens in between. So that's at its super highest level. And the purpose behind that is this. In the old world, I'm calling it the old world of media, an artist would write a song and they would create a piece of work. A video guy, a film guy would make a film. A painter would paint a painting. And so they're outputs, they're an asset, they're created. And then the world created mechanisms on top of that piece of work to monetize those. Everything from platforms to royalties to whatever. I'm calling that the old world because what we're saying, what Monarch's trying to do is to say, we're now in a world where the asset itself is no longer the primary monetizational object. What we're talking about is, what we're trying to say is that leave all that world still the way it was and the way it is. And we're not touching that. What we're saying is that in a new world, the old piece of work is merely an influence in what the new output's going to be in a generative work. Right. So if people are going, I want to create something, the makeup of that prompt that creates the work that they want has a number of different elements that go into it, just like a recipe. If you are putting things into a recipe to create an output, the style of the artist that created the works in the past now has a voice and has a way to attribute to that recipe and to be monetized and rewarded for the influence that they're creating in their prompt. Now, people have often said to me, well, you know, what happens if they just say, I just want a rock song? Well, in a responsible AI framework that we're promoting, which allows the platforms to be able to help with the prompting side of it, is to be able to use chain of thought prompting to reprompt the prompter to say, okay, if you like music, what era do you like rock music from? Oh, the 70s. Okay. What favorite band do you have from the 70s? To get the right output. So what we're trying to do is to try and encourage users to get to a place where they will get to a point whereby an artist or an actual song that is influencing the output that they want to create is there. Once that's in the prompt, then that triggers like an officially licensed style from the artist, which allows them to create content in their style. So really what we're trying to do is to bridge the older world whereby monetized assets were monetized, and in the new world where the prompt is monetized. And so everything between that then allows for the ability to provide a responsible framing or a responsible system. In some cases, it allows the AI platforms to be able to provide the tools to the end users without the threat of being sued, because now the content that the library that and their models that are trained on all this content are now being utilized in a way that's officially authorized for that particular transaction.
Right.
So really what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve a number of problems here. One is the artist saying, how do I actually make money in a world whereby people are generating content through Gen AI? By doing this, there can be a revenue stream attached to every generative output work. Secondly, it's and this is from the art perspective that I'm passionate about, is that we're in a world now where we're all chasing clicks. So an artist blows up and everyone always seems to follow them. And it's like, and everyone's chasing that Spotify getting on the playlist because you sound like someone else. And whether that's the right model or not, I think what, from my point of view, it's that when we're starting to look at our style and what our style token means, in my view, it's going to help promote the art of looking for your unique identity and your unique style rather than being the same as everyone else. But if you do sound like everyone else, you can still create your own style fingerprint, your own style identity. What's really interesting to me about that is this model works across every credit card and digital wallet payment system. They're using digital identity in a transaction. It's used in so many different places, from medicine to security to transport. What we're using is a methodology whereby the artist now has a tokenized style, and that style can be represented in a generative work. So helping provide more monetary value for artists in an ongoing revenue stream without them even having to create any new work. Number two, allowing the AI platforms with a methodology that allows them to potentially not be sued, because now the artists that they're generating, they're doing it in a legal framework that is actually authorized. It allows politicians with a way to actually have the acts that they're trying to draw a method where it actually can be enacted. And especially from the end user, we're in a world now where everything is hyper personalized to an individual, from your Facebook to your Instagram feeds to your YouTube to your Netflix. There's all these recommendation engines to your advertising. What we're saying is that we're going to see this explode. To have tools in people's hands to allow them to create outputs the way they want to do them in a hyper personalized way, or to have agents do that on their behalf with user consent, is going to be a future whereby I'm coming home, I want to relax. I love the Metallica Black Album, but I want it just in a chill out ambient vibe. For that to be created for me, Metallica still gets paid. I get the output I want. The responsible framework is the way it is. And I see this as a future where derivative works are all going to start to pop up. But because we've created the originating work, we will have the single source of truth of when the token was issued and how the actual song was made up. So we've got this sort of trail. We're basically, in my view, we're building a like new rails for the music industry where generative AI is concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And that's, I know we're talking about IROS, which is the AI royalty operating system. This is something we've been building over the last 18 months, and lots of excitement around that. Matt, as you've kind of voiced the problem and you've kind of put your finger on identifying the problem, how does Monarch, and what Finbar kind of stepped us through, how does that, what kind of solution, what does that mean to
Well,
you?
I think, Finbar really well explained the thinking behind Monarch, and how the technology actually will support independent creatives with huge followings, and also creatives that are part of major labels. That's the beauty of this solution. Whereas, the upfront licensing fee model, which has been seemingly the only one that people have really heard of or thought about, will largely benefit the larger players in the market because they'll have more negotiating power. The nice thing about this model benefits them, but it also benefits independent creatives as well, who've built up their own following. So it's a better solution, I would argue, because more people can earn a living from their works. And the beauty of this solution as well is, I know Finbar there was kind of concentrating a bit on the music sector, but also we have this same challenge in image generation as well, where people use an artist's name. I think that I can't remember the name of the artist, but one artist has been mentioned over 900,000 times on Midjourney. And obviously, a lot of people saw Studio Ghibli was mentioned, or possibly millions of times when Sam Altman tweeted out about it. And when you've got things like that, it makes sense that Studio Ghibli or the artist or others should have been able to earn money from those opportunities and the use of their brand, their IP, to create these new images. So I think that this solution is not just one for the music sector. It's one that can work with images. It can work with books, exactly, other things as well. And that's the beauty of it. It's very flexible, and it's something that just makes sense in this day and age.
What blows me away, and Finbar mentioned it at the beginning there, he said he was talking about the old world and the new world. It says, he said that it doesn't matter where your content lives.
Yeah.
That those analog modes of distribution. Now, this is the yet to be created work.
Exactly.
So that old model, new model framework, I think, is really interesting. If I understand it right, Monarch respects the old model, but it builds on top of it a new accretive revenue stream.
100%. And I think, it's, look, I speak at a lot of these AI conferences, and what I speak about, which I think is a very highly overlooked topic, is the fact that, the pace of change is accelerating so fast these days. It's and what's happening though is that the pace of technology change is happening so fast, but the pace of human change and our human operating system is not accelerating. So when was the last time as a person did we upgrade our human operating system, which is our subconscious and our conscious? We're approaching these arguments from such an old mindset. Of like, okay, well, but we've got to do this. We've got to do it this way. It's to build an adaptive mindset, to be able to understand how the technology can augment and provide value to us in this world. How are we not allowing our biases to get in the way of us being able to have a future? Yet we seem to be fighting each other about, well, we've got to do it this way and we've got to do it that way. It's what we're trying to say is that, guys, there is a pathway here, a well-proven pathway around tokenization, around style. It's already being used in Midjourney. You can go to Suno right now and create songs. You just can't do them in the style of the artist. That platform is doing that. The ability for us to be able to create the token and be able to use that in a way where it allows anyone to create whatever they want with respect to the original artist, now enables a world of creation, a world of art. It allows the artist to be able to have a revenue stream where they can create art. It's a world where we start collaborating, where we come together, where art starts to thrive again. Instead of, well, hang on a second, the argument around should we do IP rights versus the right to be able to build these models, and AI wins because it's more valuable to the world. It's it shouldn't have to be an argument of one versus the other. It should be, how do we all collectively win here, right?
Yeah.
How do we build a future whereby this artificial intelligence can augment how I want to live my life and provide the connection to friends, to society. See, the way I look at it is this. Music, particularly, I'll go back to music because it's something I know inherently. It's one thing to create a note and to write sheet music and to play that back, and AI can do that, and it can do words and it can do inflections and blah blah blah, and different styles of voice. But music particularly has a language within language, which is the dynamics, the nuance between two notes as they hit timing against each other. And an orchestra is a number of different instruments coming together, and the coming together, the way that the notes interface and align, and the way the player plays and the dynamics and the speed creates an emotional response. And so I think part of this human upgrade operating system is, how do we focus on the language within the language, the communication, the ability to connect, to connect emotion. And so I think that we're at this top layer here with AI at the moment. And you're not getting into AGI or anything, but AI is really great at reproducing this surface level detail. And so that, for me, that's what this input, whereby I think we need to, this is just me, my rant here is that this ability for us to start to think and upgrade our own human OS and start to remove these biases and go, okay, how do we come together collectively and what does it mean, rather than fighting for a world that we used to have or fighting for a future because our benefit is financially driven by it.
Yeah.
Your financial benefit of your future is driven even greater if the mass of people come onto it to create collective art, which drives emotion. And so for me, it's if we build this super highway that connects the artist with the prompter, with the AI platform, with the politicians, in any way that they want to play and have this sort of traceability. And to me, it's laying the bedrock for a whole heap of new art, a whole heap of new commercial models, a whole heap of new technologies, and that's really what we're trying to do. So sometimes it gets hard to explain. We talk about the technical flow of what we're doing, but people like to see just an end product. But the end product is something that's built on top of what we're trying to do.
Right. So let's see. Last month, Ken, you spoke at the Country Music Hall of Fame with Bart Herbison, who's the executive director of NSAI. He's responsible for the a lot of legislation that happens. Talk about that event, the CMA event. How'd that go?
Oh yeah, so the event was very well attended. I remember there was quite a few folks there, a lot of great questions as well. The source was actually the host
Yep.
of the event at the CMA space, and they did let me know that it was one of their most well attended because it's one of those topics. It's basically, it was, what is the music industry doing in response to AI? One of the things that I think that I was thinking about when Finn was just talking through our mindset of the human OS, the reset or the alignment here is, this is not a Napster moment for music. This is a Renaissance moment for music, and that's where I think the change needs to happen. It has been the H8 formula. Human element says, if you don't know what it is, kill it and figure it out, right? kill it first. But you know, that's old. And we're in a whole different space. We're looking at this going, well, no, this is not a Napster moment. And I lived through the Napster
Yeah.
moment, so I know what that was.
Yeah.
This is Renaissance. This is actually a path.
I think
that.
you hit it on the head when you said that this isn't the Napster moment. This is a iPhone moment.
Mm.
And that puts it in the positive growth space. Napster is very, it's a net negative, but you nailed it when you said this is an iPhone moment. And I think as I've thought about that, it's like that's exactly right. What Monarch is doing through the AI royalty operating system is fixing problems for a very specific set of users: IP owners, AI companies, and governments.
Just to enhance on that, because that's a great thing you've just triggered in my mind. Like in 2007, Steve Jobs walks up on a stage with a piece of glass, a pack of a size of playing cards in his hand, right?
Yeah.
He launched the iPhone, and it blew everyone's minds. And it was a device. But what happened was 1 year later, the iTunes store launched, and it detonated the world. The App Store, sorry, not the iTunes Store, the App Store launched. It detonated the world. And what happened was now your phone, all these developers could develop things on the App Store, and it turned this device into this thing that could do anything from shopping carts to system interfaces to GPS to Facebook to all this is now available on your phone. So the App Store was this thing that underpinned this thing that connected the world and allowed the world to build tools on this store, which then had an interface, which was the iPhone. And so the combination of the two was just this incredible thing. And what you don't go onto Perplexity or ChatGPT, and there's not an app store on there, but the ability for us to have these tools that connect art and allow people to go and create creative works. To me, that was it was a great thing. I love that story about the App Store and the iPhone, because the two of them together was the thing that really just opened the world to go and be creators. They created art, which were apps, and the apps lived on this thing called a phone. So yeah, pretty interesting.
And one of the things tying into that, Finn, Ken mentioned at the CMA event, is the AI royalty that we've developed is 1,900 times greater than the Spotify royalty. 1,900% more than the Spotify royalty. So when you're talking about an app store, the marketplace, the monetization piece of it, the same thing holds true for Monarch. It's like we're creating an AI royalty that previously has never been available. And that revenue is real. It's not 0.00000002. It's a meaningful piece of revenue.
Yeah.
So that was a big takeaway for me at the CMA event.
Yeah.
That announcement did stop the room. Everyone did take note. One of my biggest takeaway was that our music industry has been keeping the same mindset of tracking infringements, the old "where's the asset bin?" That's very prevalent, and this is new. And so this is that curve, this is that turn, and that turn is happening very fast here in Music Row. Monarch, we've been in the silent, now we're in the speak, and so those viewing in, we've got our road shows now that are coming up where we're speaking. We've got a road show in Nashville coming up. Then will be joining us from Melbourne. We also have Los Angeles, New York, and London, and possible some Amsterdam thrown in coming up in roadshow. So I'm just throwing that out there. Just want to say, hey, things are moving. We're talking about this, and look forward to seeing you guys at the roadshow if you're able to make it.
Yeah, it's going to be great to share more of the details in those private VIP events for sure.
A lot of people don't know that you can go and generate music with AI. So some do, some are aware, but you'd be surprised at how many people don't know that you can go to a place like Suno and create something that sounds pretty damn amazing, just with a prompt. So for those that are listening to this that not really sure what we're talking about, just encourage you to go to suno.ai and just go and type in a prompt and have a listen to the output. This is where the world is at. And on top of that, if you think about what's happened to music over the last 20 years, it went from singles down to now on, 8-second TikTok grabs of pieces of music. With generative AI, what you might find is people building one track which is 4 hours long. If you go onto YouTube right now, you can find if you just type in 8 hours of easy listening music or generative music, you can go on YouTube right now and listen to an 8-hour, one song piece of music by generative AI, which, is in relaxing or engaging or exciting. So I think the formats that, the way a listener wants to listen, it might be for a complete, for a garden party or for a shopping mall for, a month, or it might be for an event or an experience. And so these tools allow end users to be able to create in any way they want to create, but using the style of their artist. So first off, for those that are not really sure what we're talking about here, is that I'd encourage you to go and use a platform and create music, just so you can see and be mind blown by that. And that will give you a starting point to go, right, so this is what we're doing here, is where we're putting a proper mechanism in place that allows the end prompter to create a world of an infinity of art and the way they want to create. It allows artists to be provided with some value for doing that, for providing the influence for that. And as I mentioned, it just provides everyone in the ecosystem. There really is no one that loses out of this. Labels who own the rights to a lot of catalogs, it's even more valuable to them. So there's not anyone that particularly loses out of working with Monarch.
That's right.
I mean, something I just wanted to kind of jump in on there as well is quite often creatives can be, not all creatives, but some creatives can be hesitant to try these models because of their perceptions of how they've been trained and other things. And it's worth noting that some of them do believe that simply writing a prompt is the only way that these tools are used. So for example, Finn, you touched on there how you can go on Suno, you can just type in a prompt and you can get a full song out of it. But it's worth noting as well that actually established artists and other artists are using these tools already. I mean, Daniel Bedingfield has been using Udio and things, and I as a songwriter use them. You can if you are creative already and you have assets of your own, you can clone your own voice, you can clone your melodies, you can write. But the great thing about Monarch is that it would offer you more opportunities. So for example, if I was writing a song, maybe I could have will.i.am rapping on my song and then have my own chorus, those sort of things, so it offers a new level of creativity and remuneration opportunities. And I think that's the key thing there, that this isn't just about people who are not creative going on there and being able to create. It's actually about creatives having a new dimension opened to them for creativity.
100%.
Great point.
You're really
great point. So Matt, I know you're speaking at the AI World Council event coming up here. What is that, in October?
Yeah, so that's the AI World Summit in Amsterdam. So it's always a great event and brings a lot of leaders from the industry together.
Yeah. Can you give us a hint of what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so well, it's still a little bit top secret, but
okay, give us a little tease of it.
Yeah, what I can say is we'll be discussing responsible AI, potentially with a leading politician, and also exploring some of the creative stuff I've been doing with artificial intelligence as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, this has been a really great kind of kickoff conversation. Matthew, I hope you'll join us more in the future. We'd love to have you back, as this conversation is just getting more and more interesting, more and more momentum around all the moving parts of the things we've talked on. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you
very much.
Thank you, Matthew.
Awesome. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching and listening to Pro AI Anti-Theft. If you got value out of today's episode, you can learn more at monarch.com. That's with 2 R's, where you can request your invite to become a member of the community. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel where we have more great content for you. We are Pro AI Anti-Theft.